Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, and radio network. What do we have in store for you on this edition of the program? Full fire sale in Tampa for the Buccaneers. Are we there yet? We're very close. We're on the doorstep. We've rung the doorbell. And it makes sense. It does. It makes sense if you think about it. And Tom Brady is one of those guys that should be traded. Yeah, how about that? So we're going to dive into that. Also, look, with college football, everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, it's an overstatement, right? So many times I hear, this loss and this team gets beat and this team gets beat. It creates chaos. No, chaos is creating college football now by teams winning, not by teams losing. Winning creates clutter. Losing creates what? Yes, cleanliness. Teams lose, they fall off. Winning creates clutter. So I'm going to tell you each week, as we go into, the next big weekend in college football, the teams that you should want to win if you want chaos. The teams that, to me, are going to be difficult to debate at the end for the committee. So we're going to look at that as well. Also, with what's going on with Tom Brady, and this is not going to have a happy ending, walking off into the sunset in sports, going out on top, I'm going to show you it doesn't happen. I can only think of 5 times where riding off into the sunset worked in sports. And some of them you actually limped. Maybe you limped into a fluorescent light instead of walking off into the sunset. Limped into a fluorescent lit dark hallway. Anyway, so there we go. Remember, Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports Twitter, at Harp on Sports Instagram, Auditory Route, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Harp on Sports, the Facebook page, Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel, and of course, harponsports.com. Look, with the Buccaneers now, is it over? No, it's not over. But we're getting close. We're in the third, even though we're halfway through the year, we're in the third act. This team is 3-5. And, the division's terrible, right? Panthers are dreadful. The Falcons and the Saints, the same thing. So you could win this division going 8-9. So what would that mean? That means all they'd have to do is do what down the stretch? To go 8-9. They'd have to go 5-4. They'd have to go 5-4 down the stretch to get to 8-9. Probably be enough to win the division. So, but is that what you want? Is that what you want? Especially the way the Cowboys are playing, because that's who you're going to play. More than likely, the Eagles are going to win that division. They're going to be like 13-4. They're going to win that division. 14-3. The Cowboys are going to be sitting there at the end of the year like 12-5. So you're going to have the Cowboys come into Tampa. Well, then you get them at home, and then you're going to go on the road. No, guys, this team can't beat the Panthers. This team can't beat the Steelers. You think this team's going to beat the Cowboys right now? Well, and Shaq Barrett's done for the year. Look, they can make the playoffs. They're not going to do anything in it. They're not. Tom Brady is going to have a Ben Roethlisberger type of exit. He is. So, I'm thinking, why not do him better than that? Now, look, there have been so many rumors about he could have ended up in Miami. You've got the Rams coming up. And I was thinking right after the game, fire sale now. And I'm like, wait a second here. Let's give this Rams game a look. We're going to trot this out because we're not to the trading deadline yet. Let's give this Rams game a look. If they lose to the Rams and are 3-6, I think you start unloading guys. First guy that goes is Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, they owe him some big bucks after this year. He's a gigantic dead money cap hit. And we have seen what happens with Leonard Fournette when he doesn't have a solid quarterback. We saw it in Jacksonville. He's been somewhat successful in Tampa because he has Tom Brady. Well, next year, the Buccaneers aren't going to have an elite quarterback. I don't know who's going to be Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, or they're going to draft one. So Leonard Fournette's not going to work in this system next year. He's going to cost you $10 million. No. If I were the Buccaneers, pick up the phone, and this is a trade that would work. Buccaneers trade Leonard Fournette, get that money off the books to the Buffalo Bills. If I'm the Buffalo Bills, I trade for Leonard Fournette. I pick up the phone and ask. You put Leonard Fournette in that situation with that team and the ability to run the ball in close yardage situations with that offensive line, you got another back to that opponent. Look, if you're the Bills, you're looking around going, well, the Chiefs just added Kadarius Toney, and you may sit here and think to yourself, he's not going to do much there. When's the last time Andy Reid had a receiver fail? When's the last time Andy Reid, you look around and go, oh my God, he doesn't know what he's doing on offense. That's not going to work. Watch how that works. Finds running backs places and throws them in, and they have 80 yards in a game. Then you don't hear from them for a month, and then they throw them back in, and they get 90 yards in a game. Leonard Fournette to the Bills. Fire Sale 1. Now I was looking around the team, and it was Shaq Barrett getting hurt, and I mean, there's other guys on the team that you can try to move. Mike Evans, I still think he's the core of that. I'd ship off Godwin. Would. Who out there's trying to compete? Who out there's trying to make a run at this thing in the AFC? You've got the Bills, you've got the Chiefs. Anybody else out there want to keep up? And then you start to look at all the divisions and you think, okay, well, where could he end up? I mean, I know. Didn't the Bengals just suffer a big loss? Godwin to the Bengals. Fire Sale. What are you going to get? You're not going to get a lot. Like for Fournette, you may get, for Fournette, with where he is contract-wise, you probably get a third or a fourth. Third or a fourth for Fournette. So, you get the money off the books, and you can, look, and if you get those draft picks, if you want to move up in the draft and go get one of the big guys, because let's face it, the way this Bucs team's going right now, they're going to be picking about 10th to 12th. If they end up right in that range, they have this fire sale and they keep losing, and they end up picking, they could have 3 or 4, like a couple thirds, a couple fourths, and they could move up and get themselves a CJ Stroud, move up and get themselves a Bryce Young, a Will Levis if they will. The Bucs can they can start this process. This team is going nowhere. You got to move. You got to do something here. Rams, fire sale. The last part of the puzzle is moving Tom Brady. Yes, I'd trade Tom Brady. Now, would Tom Brady want to go? Probably not. But if Tom Brady, here with what's going on with this mess in Tampa, there's a place that Tom Brady would work. You ready? The Indianapolis Colts. Oh, he would never do it. Probably not. Matt Ryan, that experiment's over, right? This Colts team's a competitive football team. Matt Ryan just turns the ball over too much. Now, is there enough time to right the ship? I don't know. That division is extremely winnable. And you may sit there and say, well, Seth, in the NFC, if he wins the division, at least he's got a shot because the NFC's weak. The AFC, look, with the pedigree, the ability, the Colts offensive line's fantastic. Their ability to run the ball is really strong. In that division, in that setting, where the Bills and the Chiefs are going to find themselves as the 1 and 2 seed, and more than likely the Bills are going to be the 1, the Chiefs are going to be the 2. So, yeah, I mean, is the sky the limit in Indianapolis? No. But at least you have the weaponry to make a run in the AFC. At least you have that. I don't know what's going to happen in the North with the Ravens and the Bengals and the Steelers. And the Browns. Yeah. But the Colts can win the South. Tom Brady, think about this ending is going to be limping. Like I said, you're not riding off into the sunset. You're limping to the finish line. In the finish line. You're not even getting a participation trophy this year. So under that mindset, Tom Brady to the Colts, if he goes there, let's say he goes to Indianapolis and wins the Super Bowl. You can't write a story like that. If he goes there and they don't, and they make the playoffs and all right. Now, what are you going to give up for him? This is what I wrote. You give up a fifth for him. What? Turns to a fourth if the Colts go to the Super Bowl. Colts win the Super Bowl, it turns to a third. So in other words, the Bucs will get a third round pick for a guy that's going to play 8 more games. Will Brady do it? No. But it's the smart football. Tell me any of those moves aren't the smart franchise move. Are you in love with now or are you in love with the future? When they talk about food, cake, pies, all those things, moment on the lips, forever on the hips. You see slogans like this all the time. Live like it's your last day on earth. No, because it's not. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to have stuff to do. Live like it's your last day on earth. Get drunk, have fun, dance. That's all fine unless you got a business meeting the next day at 10 a.m. You don't have anything to do the next day, fine, knock yourself out. Future. Now. Trade all these guys away. What do you probably finish? Probably finish 5-12. 6-11. You're picking 6th, 5th, or 6th in the draft. Now you've got multiple because you've traded Fournette, you've traded away Godwin, you've traded away Brady. Now you've got multiple thirds, multiple fourths, maybe multiple fifths, couple firsts. You can move up if you're like 5th or 6th. You can move up and get one of those quarterbacks, all those extra picks. Uncle Seth, you're helping you out. Oh, by the way, with all this Brady stuff, this is the truth. There is no in sports happy endings. Happy endings only occur with Robert Kraft. You like that? Okay. No, they don't occur in sports. This whole fascination with guys riding off into the sunset. No, it was going to be a swan song. It was going to be a great. It doesn't happen. I think of the best sports figures in the last 25 years who rode off into the sunset with a victory and happy ending. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade style. Who? People like to say Michael Jordan. No, he came back from the Wizards. He didn't do anything. Came back and played for the Wizards. Okay, it was neat to see Michael Jordan continue to play basketball, but he didn't. Not a happy ending. Did he even make the playoffs? No. Michael Jordan? No. Scottie Pippen? No. Shaq? No. Kobe had a great, amazing last game. They do anything? Make the playoffs? No. Who else? Albert Pujols? God, what a great career. Swept. Yadier Molina, part of that campaign too. Nothing. Keep looking. Find anybody find somebody in sports the last 25 years. Seth Peyton Manning. Okay. Peyton Manning. He won. Didn't he have twice as many interceptions and touchdown passes that year? That was Von Miller's Super Bowl. He did win. I'm going to drink a lot of beer, Jim. Great. Got that second Super Bowl, but come on. I'm going to fall for that? To quote my man Damon, mummer's farce. No. So, okay, we say Peyton Manning rode off into the sunset on the horse. No. He was in the side cart is what he was. He was on a pony as he rode off into the sunset. Who? Can't find him. I can think of a couple coaches. Scotty Bowman won a Stanley Cup with the Red Wings and retired. It was like his 6th. Oh, okay. Phil Jackson didn't get to do this. Phil Jackson didn't get to. Pat Riley didn't get to. No, these guys don't get to do this. I guess Pat Riley did come back, didn't he, with the Heat? He came back and won one, then walked away? I was thinking Pat Riley with the Knicks and Lakers. Look, you just don't. I'm thinking coaches now. Remember athletes. What athlete did Wayne Gretzky? No. Bill Russell. Okay, 40 years ago, Bill Russell. 50 years ago, Bill Russell did. Then he went as a manager, coach, a little bit different. These guys, you don't get to do this. Ted Williams doesn't. Babe Ruth doesn't. Go look at the all-time greats. Hank Aaron, the all-time greats in sports. Find them. They mentioned Teddy Williams. The Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle won a World Series his last year with the Yankees. It doesn't happen. Football, you can go up and down the ladder. Some guys retire. Not the all-time greats, though. The all-time greats, what makes them great is also an inherent flaw. I've got one more round. Brady should have stayed retired. No, he shouldn't have. Why? So you could have a pretty picture of him as he should have stayed retired. He came back, he fought, he lost. But there's shame in getting beat. He's a shell of himself. So what? Tom Brady he made what, $30 million this year? Should have stayed retired. Why? Who are you to tell another person that they should retire so you can feel better about yourself? Tom Brady didn't. No. Good that he came back. Good for him. One more round. It didn't work. So what? But I'm just looking up and down here. I can't find anybody. Who? Again, Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl by watching Von Miller sack Cam Newton a bunch of times and Cam Newton not diving for a ball on the goal line. Business decision, remember? There's no happy endings in this. There's not. Brady should have retired 2 years ago with the Super Bowl. Yeah, okay. Why? Well, or he could have come back and won it again. They could have won that last year. Okay, Captain Hindsight. He came back. He didn't win. So what? Is Ted Williams' legacy any less because he didn't win a World Series with the Red Sox? Go back and find. Everybody should have walked off into the sunset, but should have rode off and won on championship at the end. Yeah, okay, going back and revising that. But find me, is Jordan's legacy ruined because he didn't do that? No. Kobe? No. Stop it. Knock it off. It's a garbage argument. All right, I want to wrap with this. People think, take a step back. I often hear, oh, this team, college football, this team loses, we're going to have chaos. This team, no. If you want chaos in college football, now is where you want everybody to keep winning. Not losing, winning. Winning creates chaos. Everybody losing, all of a sudden teams start to get a second loss, they're done. Losing creates chaos. At the beginning of the year, first month. The last month, 5-6 weeks, winning creates chaos. Losing creates chaos at the beginning because it's just upset. You don't know exactly what's going on. Oh my gosh, look at this. Now, at this point, I wrote down 4 teams. If you really love chaos and you want the committee to look like a bunch of buffoons trying to explain themselves at the end, there's 4 teams that you need to don these shirts and pom-poms. 4 teams. Because these are 4 teams. If they win the rest of their games, hey, baby, I don't know what to do. I picked 4 different conferences. I'm not going to go through the same conference because it's not realistic. This is not realistic either, really, when you get right onto it. But there are 4 teams in here that I don't know what you do if they win all their games. The easy one I have out of the gates, TCU. A 13-0 TCU is probably in, right? Are they? If Ohio State's undefeated, Michigan's undefeated, and that's one of their losses against each other. If Georgia gets to the SEC championship game and loses to Alabama, undefeated Clemson. By the way, I know people aren't Clemson should. If Clemson wins all their games, they're going to get in. They just are, so you can forget that notion that they're not going to get in. Clemson's one of those teams, if they win all their games, they're going to make it. I don't know if TCU is. TCU can lose and still win them all and still create a little controversy. But the chaos is TCU winning them all. Then I've got North Carolina. North Carolina is 6-1. If North Carolina wins all their games and then dumps Clemson in the ACC championship game, all of a sudden, North Carolina's sitting there 12-1 at the end of the year going, hey, we just won the ACC. We're 12-1. By the way, our loss is a home loss to Notre Dame by 3 touchdowns. A couple years ago, that may not be a bad thing. Now, Notre Dame makes 7-5. So what do you do there? You know what's interesting? Notre Dame plays Clemson in a couple weeks. You could have 11-1 Clemson and 11-1 North Carolina in the ACC championship game, and both of their losses are to Notre Dame, who's going to go 7-5. Think about that. But anyway. Yeah. Clemson has to go to Notre Dame. They're going to beat somebody this year they shouldn't. They may lose the teams that they shouldn't. They always beat somebody they shouldn't too. So, at least in the regular season. North Carolina. You want chaos? Cheer for North Carolina. Oregon. You know, UCLA and USC. I think if USC wins them all, okay, then that doesn't really create chaos. A 12-1 Oregon that lost their first game by 30 points to Georgia creates a mess because it's an awful loss. It's a terrible loss. But we have seen the college football committee and the put in Ohio State that lost to a mediocre Virginia Tech team to start the year, put them in the playoff because of what they were doing at the end. The precedent has been set for a strong ending. Oregon's boat racing teams right now. Bo Nix, this is a different team, but they do have a 30-plus point loss to Georgia. But if Georgia goes undefeated, Oregon can sit there and say, look, our only losses to them on a neutral site. We're so much better now. We lost to the best team with a brand new quarterback. This is a different team 3 months from now. We want the Ohio State plan from the first college football playoff. And the one that I still say is the biggest, what do you do, is Illinois. Illinois 6-1. Who's Illinois have coming up? Nebraska. Who else does Illinois have coming up? They just beat Minnesota. They got Nebraska. They've already played Northwestern. They get their Purdue. Illinois I looked at Illinois' schedule. Illinois' got a road game at Michigan here in 3 weeks, which is kind of a curveball when you think about it, because Michigan has to play Illinois at home and then turn around and go to Ohio State. Illinois is going to be probably 12th in the country when they play Michigan. But imagine an Illinois team that beats Michigan at Michigan, who's undefeated, and then ends up in the Big Ten championship game and beats Ohio State. You're going to leave that team out? But it's Illinois. What? But they're going to have 2 top 5 wins if that happens? College football chaos isn't created by a bunch of losses. It's created by winning. North Carolina, TCU, Illinois, Oregon. Those are the 4 teams you should be cheering for if you want to mess. Harp on Sports, the bar. Podcast, audio, media, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports Twitter, at Harp on Sports Instagram. Auditory route, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Also, you can get a hold of us, consume us. Harp on Sports, the Facebook page. Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel. And of course, harponsports.com. Remember, stay clean, stay focused, stay strong. Happy Halloween. Frankenstein. Have fun with your friends.